I buy the kind of Freeman Dyson view of science, which is that Freeman Dyson view of science is that the progress of science comes from inventing new tools, new scopes, new ways of measuring things, and I very much think that that's a big part of quantified self, is that when we can invent a new way to measure something, it suddenly opens up all kinds of questions that we hadn't even thought about. So maybe there's things happening in the brain that we can't measure right now, or didn't even think of measuring, that once you have this little device that can measure something, you begin to say, what else can I measure with it? Well, what's happening there? What we're seeing? What can we do with it? And then it's like this spectrometry thing where you realize that you can look at blood, the color of blood, and see things. Who would ever thought about that? And I think that's where I would be looking at, is what are the different ways we can actually measure things about the brain without going inside it, and things that may seem really trivial at first, if you play around with it enough, you might discover that you can actually correlate with something else. And that's the beauty of quantified self, is you begin to monitor it without any intention, and then you notice, oh my gosh, if I eat butter, whatever, it changes this, and so there's something here. And that was the great error of the gentleman scientists, back at the beginning of science, when they discovered the elements and things about electricity. It was just people trying things to see what happens. There was no real agenda, and I think that, to me, is the benefit of the quantified self amateur thing, is that you can just start recording things because it's easy, not knowing what you're going to find, and then you find something, and then you can begin to share it, and then start to isolate it and do science on it.
Yeah, now with internet and communities like Quantified
Right.
Self, we have perfect tools for doing those experiments
Right.
and sharing them
Exactly.
with the rest of the world.
Right. So I think what we're trying to do is urge the hardware people to just make something that can measure it and put it out and see what people do with it, and then figure out your afterwards. Rather than trying, like, well, you got to figure out this and this. No, just make a really cool microscope, and then everybody will discover what to do with it. Make a really cool device that can measure all kinds of things, and then the community will figure out what to measure with it.